Death by beard. In 1567, Hans Steininger of Austria was famous for having one of the world's longest beards, over 4 feet in length. He often rolled it up and tucked it into a pocket, but one day he left it loose. When a fire broke out in town, he tripped over his own beard while rushing to safety, fell, and broke his neck. This bizarre accident became one of the strangest examples of vanity leading to tragedy. It reminds us that even the things we treasure most can become our undoing if not handled wisely. Grooming and personal pride are fine, but maybe keeping your beard short could save your life. The philosopher who laughed to death. Greek philosopher Chrysippus is remembered not only for shaping Stoic thought, but also for his absurd death. According to ancient accounts, he once saw a donkey eating his figs. He told a slave to give the donkey wine to wash them down, then burst into uncontrollable laughter at his own joke. That laughter continued until he collapsed and died. His demise is one of history's strangest examples of humor taken too far. It shows how laughter, though healthy in moderation, can truly become dangerous if taken to extremes. The philosopher who laughed himself to death. Chrysippus, a Greek Stoic philosopher from the 3rd century BCE, spent much of his life pondering the nature of logic, virtue, and human reason. Ironically, it was not deep thought that ended his life, but something far sillier, his own sense of humor. According to ancient sources, one afternoon he saw a donkey nibbling on some figs from his garden. Amused, he jokingly told a servant to give the donkey a cup of wine to wash them down. The sight of the donkey feasting like a human was too much for him to bear. He burst out laughing, so violently, so uncontrollably, that he lost his breath, collapsed, and died. For a man whose philosophy emphasized self-control and moderation, his death by laughter was the ultimate contradiction. Today, his demise is remembered as one of the strangest reminders of human vulnerability. Even something as joyful and harmless as laughter can, in rare cases, turn deadly. The king who died from dessert. King Adolf Frederick of Sweden, 1710 to 1771, was known as the king who ate himself to death. After a heavy meal of lobster, caviar, sauerkraut, herring, and champagne, he devoured 14 servings of semla, a rich cream-filled bun. Overindulgence caused fatal digestive issues, making him a cautionary tale about gluttony. While his death sounds absurd, it's also a reminder that overeating, especially of rich foods, can have real consequences. Moderation is not just a virtue, but sometimes a survival strategy. Death by gift wrapping. In 1911, lawyer Clement Vallandigham died in one of the most ironic ways possible. Defending a murder suspect, he wanted to prove the victim had accidentally shot himself. To demonstrate, Vallandigham drew a pistol, unaware it was loaded, and reenacted the supposed accident. He proved his point perfectly, but shot himself in the process, dying shortly after. His tragic mistake cleared his client of charges, but serves as a timeless reminder. Never use real weapons for demonstrations. The lawyer who proved his own case too well. Clement Vallandigham, a respected Ohio lawyer in 1871, was in the middle of a murder trial that hinged on one critical question. Was the victim murdered, or had he accidentally shot himself? Vallandigham, brilliant but theatrical, was determined to prove the latter. To demonstrate, he borrowed a pistol similar to the weapon involved. Believing it to be unloaded, he tried to show how someone might accidentally shoot themselves while drawing the gun from a pocket. In front of stunned onlookers, the pistol discharged and shot him in the stomach. He collapsed, mortally wounded. The irony? Vallandigham's demonstration worked. He had proven the victim's death could have been accidental. His client was acquitted thanks to the lawyer's sacrifice. History remembers him not just as a capable lawyer, but as the man who literally gave his life for his case, in what remains one of the most bizarre courtroom tragedies ever recorded. The man who drowned in beer. In 1814, London suffered the Great Beer Flood when a giant vat at the Mew Brewery burst, sending over 300,000 gallons of beer into the streets. Buildings collapsed, and at least 8 people drowned. Some victims reportedly ran to collect the free-flowing beer, but got swept away in the torrent. Though it sounds like a party gone wrong, the flood showed how industrial accidents could turn even something as joyful as beer into a deadly force. Death by cane-toad races. In Australia, cane-toad races are a quirky tradition. One man decided to lick his racing toad, knowing they secrete toxins. Some believe it gives a mild hallucinogenic effect, but the man underestimated its potency. The toxins caused cardiac arrest, and he died from what was meant as a reckless joke. This case illustrates how curiosity and poor judgment can turn into fatal mistakes. Wildlife, especially poisonous creatures, deserves respect, not reckless interaction. The Emperor and the Mosquito. Alexander the Great conquered half the known world, but some historians believe he met his end in a far stranger way. One theory suggests he contracted malaria after a mosquito bite, which slowly killed him at the height of his power. To think a tiny insect could bring down one of history's greatest military leaders is both ironic and humbling. It highlights how even the most powerful humans remain vulnerable to the smallest of natural forces. Death by desk. In 1987, a Canadian lawyer named Gary Hoy tried to demonstrate the strength of his office building's windows to a group of visitors. He threw himself against the glass to show it wouldn't break, something he had done before. This time, while the glass did not shatter, the entire window popped out of its frame. Hoy plunged 24 stories to his death, leaving behind one of the most bizarre and cautionary stories about workplace stunts. The inventor who tested his own parachute. Franz Reichelt, an early 20th century tailor, believed he had created a wearable parachute suit. To prove it worked, he jumped from the Eiffel Tower in 1912. Despite warnings, he trusted his invention. Tragically, the parachute failed to deploy, and Reichelt fell to his death. His experiment was filmed, leaving behind chilling footage. His story serves as a stark reminder that invention demands both courage and caution. Testing your creation yourself may not always be the safest idea. The inventor who leapt from the Eiffel Tower. Franz Reichelt was a Parisian tailor with big dreams in the early 1900s. Obsessed with aviation and safety, he designed what he called a parachute suit, a wearable outfit that could supposedly let a person glide safely to the ground. Authorities gave him permission to test it in 1912, expecting he would use a dummy from the Eiffel Tower. But on the day of the demonstration, Reichelt shocked the crowd by insisting he would test it himself. Clad in his bulky invention, he climbed to the tower's first deck, while journalists and onlookers gathered below. Cameras rolled as he leapt confidently into the air. The suit, sadly, did not function as he had hoped. Instead of gliding gracefully, he plummeted straight down, hitting the frozen ground with fatal force. The footage still exists, making his death one of the first to ever be captured on film. Reichelt's tragic leap remains a strange blend of courage, pride, and miscalculation. Death by dancing. In 1518, Strasbourg experienced the infamous dancing plague. It began when a woman started dancing uncontrollably in the streets, and soon dozens joined. The dancing continued for days, with no rest. Many collapsed from exhaustion, strokes, or heart failure. Authorities even encouraged more dancing by hiring musicians, thinking it would help people dance it out. Instead, it became one of the strangest mass fatalities in history. It shows how collective hysteria can spiral into deadly absurdity.